Lounge with yours truly, Don Marie Morris, author, speaker, coach,
Yes.
consultant,
Okay.
diva,
Yes. Well,
Howard grad,
thank
Ohio
you.
native,
Ohio native. Yes, yes. I'll be going
mother.
home. Mother.
Now she's a mother in love.
Yes, I am. I am.
I
And
can add to the
what
vitae.
happens when they have a dog? What is that called? I don't know. They
You ain't
just
got a
got a
dog.
dog too. They got a dog.
Oh, okay, okay, they do.
They-
But anyway, y'all, it's the Leaders Lounge. It's the Yak. It's the Yolanda in the Core Meal. Yes.
Yes.
Show.
How are
What's
you?
up?
How are you,
Good.
Pastor?
Get it done,
It's
Mike.
so good
Get
to
it done,
always
Mike.
see you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me as
We
always
talking. We
to
good.
grace your amazing program,
Whatever.
the
It's
Yolanda
yours.
and
It's
Cornelius
yours too.
show.
It's
Yes,
yours.
yeah. Well, you share the space with me though,
I
and I appreciate
have.
you. For how long now? For about 2 years? Has it been 2 years
Literally, it's
or
been that long.
probably,
Yeah.
probably? And
Oh
I,
yeah, it's been
yeah,
2 years,
I've enjoyed the journey.
and now you have your own podcast.
Well, yes, I do. Yes, the Leaders Lounge on Apple, Spotify.
Spotify. Yeah, I never
Yes,
listened to it on Spotify.
I know.
I need to
It's on
get
Spotify.
start the algorithm and jumpstart it so that.
Absolutely, on all of the major platforms,
Okay.
it you can listen to the Leaders Lounge.
Snap.
Da-da-da-da.
Days of the week, right? The Adams Family. Before we even,
Yes.
let's put some context around.
Okay. Yes.
Pastor snaps
Mm-hmm.
at member
Right.
for being a distraction.
Right.
Don is totally, teetotally with a capital T, cursive and calligraphy. Can I say it that way?
You may. I gotta know where we're going.
That that response should be deemed inappropriate.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Well, as we talked earlier,
Right.
which is why I wanted to shape it around
Uh-huh.
this idea of, as I said, the 6 bases of power, which I share with you. So
Yeah.
leaders have 6, according to John French and Bertram Raven, who were the kind of
Bertram.
architects. Bertram, Bertram, like Mary. They were the
Raven.
architects of this idea. They were social psychologists,
Okay.
and they came up with these 6 spaces of power,
Okay.
which are legitimacy.
Mhm.
By title, I have power.
Legitimacy. Okay.
Informational, I know something, so I have power.
Uh-huh.
Referent, so hey, we go to the same church, there's power. Reward, I'm going to give you something and I know you like it, so I have power because I can give this to you.
Mhm.
Expert, I know this better than anybody else, so I have power. And then finally, coercive, which means I'm going to punish you and I have power over you because I can punish you for this.
And absolute power corrupts absolute.
That part, exactly. And so each of them, however, is necessary at some point within the life of a leader.
Let's go over the 6 again.
Legitimacy,
Uh-huh.
informational,
Uh-huh.
referent,
Referent.
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 Yes.
Okay.
Reward, expert, and coercive.
Coercive.
Yes, exactly. And so they're all necessary at some point in the life of a leader, but all of them can either be overutilized or underutilized or optimized. And optimized is when you're using it in the manner that you should. So taking what happened in Houston with our great pastor, and the question just kept coming up: was he wrong? Was he wrong? Was he wrong? Was he wrong?
The right question?
Right? Is that the right question? That's a great.
Is that the right question?
That's that. Well, why would you say not? Or why do you ask the question?
It's a valid question. It's the reason I asked that question is it's closed-ended.
Yeah, it's a yes or no.
Yeah, and I really there's too many ambiguities with this whole situation around what really happened for me to ask a closed-ended question. I wouldn't do that. And you've taught me to optimize. I can't ask closed-ended questions. Like, what do we do with the yes? What do what do we do after the yes or the no?
Well, that's a great point. But there are some
Well.
times when closed-ended is the right question to ask.
Okay.
Now, in that particular instance, you could be right. Perhaps that was not, because we didn't know. And as he stated, there were other variables at play. And what we saw was a 30-second clip where he said hush and snapped at this parishioner. Now, as you and I discussed, though, I said, Pastor, would you do that? And
I said I don't think I would.
yeah.
But then you worked me through some things, and I had to work through some things, and it's like legitimacy. What did you say?
Legitimacy. You have the position.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to do something.
You have to do something. And so within that realm of power bases, what could have been more appropriate if he wanted to bring calmness to the space, which ultimately was what he was trying to do. So as I thought through it and I thought through the basis, I said, well, perhaps if you consider all of those, he could have used informational power, as I was sharing with you earlier. People in the room might not have known that in order to get total peace, we need to be in a place of quiet. So simply explaining that and providing information might have yielded a similar result. Don't know, but perhaps.
But
perhaps.
But
I don't know.
That's from legitimacy. I have to do something.
Legitimacy, I'm in a position of leadership.
Then I have to be informational.
Yep, that's right.
Then referential.
Referent. Now, you don't always have to use all of the bases,
right,
in every scenario.
I'm just saying, with this scenario, when you're a leader,
right,
and we've heard, his side of the story.
Yes.
On Tamron Hall. So Tamron Hall.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Don and I are looking for you to bring us up.
We are looking for that. Yeah. Yes, we are.
Especially world-class training. Yeah, we need that.
Yes.
Tamron.
Yes.
I'm just lost because, like I told you earlier, I'm not lost. I just need to have an open dialogue about things.
Yeah.
The Bible says, and I share the scripture, them that sin rebuke before all. It doesn't give us a specific in rebuking.
Right.
But it does say rebuke.
Right.
So scripturally and biblically.
Yes.
Snapping is not the kosher thing, but something had to be done.
Something had to be done. Right. Exactly. Something had to be done. And then, so to your other point about, hey, that's not necessarily the cultural thing, and hush may not be necessarily the language that we would hear across a pulpit, right? I don't even know. Has my mom ever told? I'm sure she said hush, but not shut up. So he didn't say shut up. He just said hush. He said hush. Now, I've not heard that I can remember in a church, and I've been in several. But it doesn't mean it's wrong, does it?
No.
So why were people off put?
There's an expectation of, I don't even know the word right now, but people expect that position to be so laid back and easygoing without any pushback, without any corrective genius, and to be so nurturing.
Right.
So now in that position has to be corrective rather than nurturing.
Right.
Oh my God, it's taboo.
Right.
He's so wrong. But was he really?
Was he really?
If it was in a comedy show, what would have happened?
And I loved the context that he shared at Tamron Hall, because it was something similar. He said, here you should be, people are going to be up and applauding. He said, but if it's in the middle of right now, somebody's going to say, not right now. Right. Now, how they may say it. And I think that as leaders, that's the thing that we do, because you know what? Even if we're thinking about in relationship, right? There's a way that we can get the same point across and still maintain the essence of a loving relationship. And they say in everything you do it, say it, behave in love, right? And so for me, I think that was the piece that seemed to be missing.
Because he snapped.
Because he snapped and he said hush. Because if somebody walks up to me, frankly, if you did that, hey, hush. I'm probably gonna spin around and try to say, excuse me. Right.
Did we hit an emotional chord?
You may have, because I can't. I mean, as I said it, it did kind of something. My amygdala rose a little bit.
I'm watching.
Yeah,
you know what I'm. Yeah. Wait a minute. I see. We as you know, we're being just goofy and silly, but we just hit something.
But consider exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Leadership has too many challenges. No, leadership has always had challenges.
Right.
But leading today carries a whole new set of challenges.
How do you mean?
The way I even thought about leadership when I first began leading people.
Yeah.
In a classroom, we sometimes snap and say hush. I wouldn't do that now. I'll try not to, because I understand that the dynamics of communication has changed. So,
and what about the level? So to my son or my child, if he was sitting next to me at church and he might have been yelling, I might say, "Hey, hush."
Yeah, you gonna do that because you're his mother.
Ron just walked in here. I'm probably not gonna say that to him.
Right, but
I'm talking to an adult.
Yeah.
Yes, as a mother to my child, as a teacher to your students,
hush.
Perhaps there's a level. There, as they say, there are levels to this. Now, perhaps sometimes you all who are in the pastoral realm consider parishioners your children. Is that facts?
Yes, but
okay.
Yes, there's a correlation between, parenting and pastoring.
Right. So maybe he was considering this person
more childlike, but you're still an adult.
I was gonna say,
this really has you on edge, y'all. I wish I could see her language, her demeanor.
As I think through it, it doesn't necessarily have me on edge, but as we talk through it, the more I think about it, the more I consider that, as leaders, we have to be mindful. Okay. And I thought you were going with in terms of leadership and how it looks. You're on a microscope. The world is watching. Now, don't get mad when you've asked the world to watch and what they see is something you didn't want them to see. Because remember, you opened up the screen. Right. So, don't be mad at the bear that you created.
If you make your bed hard,
we must be willing to lay in it, willing and able to lay in it. Yes.
So in these bases of power,
yes,
help me even unpack that framework as it relates to leadership.
Yeah. So in each of them, there's a time and place, and sometimes there is a mix that you may use for all of them. Just like we talked about with him. So he chose coercive power in order to handle that situation. He could have chosen another base of power. He could have chosen, if he says he's talked to her several times before, you can choose reward power. Hey, you know what? If I don't have to talk to you, I got something for you afterwards. It could be, I don't know, a gift card to Chick-fil-A, whatever it is. So that's a base of power. If he says he's already talked to her as he did. He could also say, as I said earlier, you can use informational power. Why is it important to be quiet in this moment? Share the information, and then you can have power over the situation. Now, you could also say, hey, you know what? I'm the pastor. I'm running this church. You got to do what I say in this particular moment. That's legitimacy.
Sometimes we have to be so authoritarian.
To me, that's an overuse of power. I agree. Authoritarian. Yes, exactly. And positional power is the lowest level, actually, which you know that from your favorite, your fave.
My favorite is
no, don't. Actions speak
I
louder
do.
than words. Actions speak
Who
louder.
do I talk about this today?
Because you're sitting here.
But who do I talk about today?
Anyway,
Let's
keep it
do
going.
that.
Mr. Maxwell, positional power is
Don't
the
give
lowest
it out
level, which is legitimacy.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna give him credit because that's his
That's his thing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He built his brand off that.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so just thinking about it, I think I wanted to really have a conversation because when people say, is he wrong? To your point, just to say yes or no and not really think about what else could have happened is too linear.
Yeah.
You got to give a leader another option to be able to achieve the same result without being offensive. And leaders have to focus on that because it's not always so important what you say, but how you say it, or what you do, but how you do it.
And Paul said, walk with wisdom.
Walk with wisdom.
Walk circumspectively.
Exactly. That's right.
And that's something ongoing.
Ongoing. It's always ongoing. But before things pass through our lips or pass through our hearts, we have to always, back to emotional intelligence, we have to self-regulate and consider more than just that moment, but the domino of your response to the moment.
I'm just unpacking everything.
Yes.
6 bases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Legitimate. What's number 2?
Informational. Referent.
Yes.
Which means, hey, oh, you go to Ephesians, I go to Ephesians. So now,
okay, reference based.
Essentially, exactly, right.
Mm-hmm.
There's an affiliation, reward,
5,
expert,
6,
coercive.
We have so many biblical examples of coercive leadership, like the beheading of John the Baptist. Jesus' death was coercive.
Yeah, absolutely. I
mean, we know why it had to happen,
right?
But when you look at these 6 bases of power through the lens of that hermeneutic, that was coercive. Both of them's death was coercive.
Yeah, and some of them, all of them are necessary. It's a matter, all of them. It's necessary for you. If somebody steals from the church, what you gonna do with them? Get rid of them. I would hope. That's coercive leadership. All of them are necessary. It's a matter of choosing when.
Yeah.
Because that determines whether you're optimizing over or underutilizing each of the bases.
Wow, y'all. Guess what? We're just getting started.
And always just getting started. And we always.
We're out of time.
I know.
I'm ready to turn this up a whole nother notch. So I will try to bring some of these points into our next lesson. With Ronald Jasmine, the Christmas Business Connection. But anyway,
which is coming up next.
Yes. Don, tell them where they can meet you and be glad to be assisted by your services. How can they connect?
Pastor, thank you so much for having me here today. Worldclasstraining.net is our website. You can always reach us at 615-716-9990. Worldclasstraining.net or the phone number. Either works well.